Hello and welcome back everyone to Last Level Press. I'm Mr. Black and this is round 2 of World of Guns Gun Disassembly. And for this round 2 I have broken from my usual tradition of keeping this a strictly first impression series. I have played a great deal more of this since my first 15, so that I can actually bring a somewhat more informed critique to the table regarding this game. Reason being, when I posted my first 15 of this game, I also shared it on Steam, and the developers of this game gave me a little bit of feedback. They enjoyed my first 15, as critical as I was of the game, so I decided, in respect for them, to give a somewhat more informed look at the game now. And as you can see, despite the fact that this game has been updated a couple of times since my first 15, it's still got no shortage of, not console-itis, but mobile-itis plaguing it. One of the things that is a plus of the mobile-itis, one that I would actually not want to see removed, is this right here, the patronage bonus. I decided to just leave it on this screen when I booted the game so that I can show it to you, which many players of mobile games will be familiar with. Welcome back for returning on a 4th day in a row. You get a 1,000 experience bonus point. Yay. You know what this is if you've played mobile games. And this, at least, is a nice vestige from the game's mobile days, whatever they were. I'm still not clear on exactly whether or not this exact incarnation of the game was once on a mobile device, or whether or not this is like a sequel to a mobile series ported onto PC. I'm still not clear on that, but whatever the case, it's still got those old vestiges here. Now, the thing that I want to touch on immediately is that one of the things I was rather critical on in the first episode is the quiz. And I'm not quite as against it now as I was then. However, I'm still incredibly unfond of the 2-hour cooldown when it comes to doing the quiz. And I really thought, before I sat down to conduct this video, about what one could do to rectify it, because I don't just like to levy a lot of criticism and not then offer a potential means of fixing whatever I think is wrong with it. And after a great deal of thinking, I actually came up with what I think, this is just my opinion here, is a good way to get rid of the 2-hour cooldown on the quiz and still keep, I guess you could call it game balance, with the prospect of proper experience accrual, and that is to have the quiz require an experience cost. You've essentially got to buy in. And the total that I think, with my experience with the quiz at least, would be fair is I think a 1,000 experience buy-in, because I've gotten 1,000 plus results on the quiz about a little over half of the time. So for those quiz results, I would have profited by it. I think the highest I've scored was an 1,800, which was, what, 6 weapons, correct? Guessed? I think, if I remember correctly. And the lowest I've gotten was none, so that would have been me out 1,000 experience. So in that way, if you get poor runs, which, like, take me for example, I'm rather familiar with handguns. I can identify almost any handgun by its silhouette, with the exception of revolvers. I can identify the single action army right there. I already know what that is, which is why I'm gearing for it. I can identify the Dan Wesson PPC and some of the Colt's, like, Anaconda and Python models, but beyond that, I'm not so good at identifying revolvers even by their silhouettes. Especially English revolvers. About the only one I can identify there is the Webley, and even that I'm not so good on. So for those, when I've had a couple of quizzes when they threw a lot of revolvers at me, I couldn't tell. So I would have actually burned through like all of my experience, and that, I think, would add an entertaining degree of gambling to the game's quiz function. And that way, there's always that risk, even if you play the quiz back to back to back. Yeah, I just earned 3,000 experience because I got a couple of good quiz runs, but then I try to press my luck and I lose it all because the next couple of quizzes were difficult. In that way, there is no requirement for the mobile-itis timer, and you still get to keep the quiz in a relatively unchanged fashion. That's my idea. So, speaking of the quiz, if I cover this game any more from here, which I'm not sure I will, but I very well may, because I do play this a fair amount in my off time, because it's fun, and I'm a fan of firearms and understanding them a bit better, and this is a perfect way to get a much more hands-on, integral look at the workings of firearms that one has never even held, much less gotten to take apart and explore the inner guts of. So I do play this a lot, so if you guys want to see more of this, I know my first 15 of this game soared in view counts, so there must be some interest in it. Let me know. But for this episode, I'm now going to take the quiz to test myself in front of the entire internet once again. Hopefully I won't lose on the first question like I have a few times. And then for future episodes, I will cover whatever I want to cover. It may well be that I dedicate an episode apiece to new models as I unlock them, and then at the end, probably post-credits, I'll do a quiz. That way, because they're very short, I can continue to put myself on the internet opinion chopping block and put my money where my mouth is when I claim to be somewhat well-versed in firearms. Now, without further ado, let us have at and start the quiz for this time. I know what that is. That is a Barrett 50. Where is... Oh, God, it's not being called a Barrett 50. Shit. It's one of these. It's not a Steyr. It's not a SIG. Oh, is it the M107 or the 200? I'm going to go with the 107. Yes! All right. That's a UMP 45. I know what that is. Where is it? Okay, HK UMP. Bingo. Oh, damn. That's a Storm, right? Right? Yes. Oh, God. Oh, Python. I can cheat. It says it right there on the barrel. Gimme. Oh, wait, where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's a Webley. No, it's a Schofield. No, it's not. Shit. Never mind. 1200. Got my experience. Sweet. This is like a game show. So, proving my theory, on that run, had I had a 1000 XP buy-in, I would have only made 200 experience. Yes. But I could then turn around and play it right again, like I kind of want to, without having to wait for another 2 hours to do so. So that would have been a proper proving of my point. You could even, and this could be a little disruptive, I allow players, if they succeed at the quiz, to keep the full amount and to get the full 1200 instead of 200. That is a decision that I don't understand necessarily the expected progression of the game enough to really commentate upon the balance of, but another idea. So, alright, now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, it looks as though there are no featured models for... Nope, never mind, I just clicked on that the other day. There's hold on, let's try that sentence over again. There are a few other things that I didn't really cover in my first 15 of this game that I would like to now before I finish off by probably jumping into the SIG 552, another of the assault rifle. Well, it's not really an assault rifle, it's kind of one of those hybrids between an assault rifle and an SMG. But anyway, enough of that. Let's have a quick look at the leaderboard. You can, of course, see whom the best gun disassemblers in the world are. I don't know what that flag is. That's a Japanese guy. Figures Japanese players tend to be rather obsessive for just about anything that requires a great deal of study. It's a cultural thing. That is that Italian or is that Mexican? I'm not entirely sure. There's no symbol in the middle of that flag. But anyway, I just kind of like to have a look at exactly where some of the firearm mastery is coming from. I find it kind of fascinating. As for the shop, I've learned a little bit more about how this works, and I believe there's been an update to address this as well for, I think it was $5? $5 foot long? Where is it? I don't know, I don't see it, but it's $5 or $6 to completely unlock the entire map. Again, I'm not fond of that. I would like for at least just the silhouette, the blacked out versions of the entire map to be available by default because of one simple reason. Right now, there are certain firearms that I would like to acquire in this game, but I don't necessarily want to just buy access to, or to just shoot in the dark and shotgun blast my way around and hope that I find them. I would like, for example, to get my hands in the game on a G36. I don't know which of these on the perimeter of my unlocks I should then work toward to get toward that gun. Now, yes, I could then go to, where is it? I believe it's in model info. Uh-oh. Oh, no, it's downloading the model info for the CZ75. Nope, nope, nope. Where is it? Catalog. There we are. I could go to the catalog here, something else that I did not demonstrate in my first 15 because I didn't know about it at the time, to actually click on any one of these. Like, say I wanted to get the Desert Eagle 44, I can double click on that, and I can even unlock it from within this menu for 9,000 experience. You don't necessarily have to go and find it on the map to unlock it. I don't think. I've never tried this from this menu, so if you all have and you know better, do please let me know. Plus, I believe the lifetime access $50 thing, I think, I cannot state with any authority, but I think unlocks just about everything in the game. again, if you guys know better, do please correct me on that, because I don't want to misinform, but that's the way that what I've read about this already reads. So, aha, there's the G36, exactly what I was looking for before, so that would be 15,000 experience. And, like I said, I could unlock that from this menu, I think, but I would like to work my way toward it. So, that's why I think at least having the grayed out versions of all of these models would be a good idea. That way I know which direction to go. As it is right now, I will very probably, so that you know what to look for in future episodes, work toward what I recognize as the Jericho 941 down here, which I will admit, I told one of you in the comments before, I have no qualms about admitting that I was first introduced to this weapon by the sidearm of Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. Then I wondered, what is that? That doesn't look like a 1911, which I was already familiar with, nor does it look like a Desert Eagle, which it is apparently the sort of little brother of. It's nicknamed the Baby Eagle by some, made by the Israelis, the same who also made the Desert Eagle. So, that is a firearm which I would love to actually get to know the inner workings of. I've never handled one personally, I've always wanted to, so that'll be a fun little treat to get toward. I also then want to get to the single action army, which, of course, yet again, I'm showing my gamer side here, I was first introduced to by Revolver Ocelot. Oh, yes. Now then, there's always everyone's favorite old flintlock, which very few of us have ever handled, and I'm rather curious as to the exact mechanical inner workings of. So, again, there's a lot here that I love the idea of this game for. It really allows you to sort of conduct your own research and be your own documentary without having to go to a museum and wear gloves if they'll even let you touch things, or, you know, spend the money to go to a range and rent something, and a lot of those won't let you discombobulate their fancy guns for fear of you not knowing what the hell you're doing, because you probably don't. This allows you to really get to understand a lot of these models in a way that most people simply never will have the opportunity to do so with. I'm not sure how I was supposed to end that sentence, but that's just what we're going to do. Now then, now that I have made my point and covered the things that I neglected to mention before, let's jump into the SG-552 and field strip this bad boy, seeing as I have never done so yet. If you guys would like me to revisit any of the models that you can see I've already unlocked, like the MP5, the Tech 9, let me know. I'll cover those in future episodes, but for now, this is how I'm going to wrap this one. Now, you guys were quick to correct me in my first 15 in the comments that, and I mentioned this later on in that video, but I think a lot of people found that mistake and then quit watching because internet, that yes, in the pause menu, there is a means of exiting from any of these in-game modes. I was mistaken about that before. I was not expecting for the button pause up here in the corner to actually have a full menu to it until very late in that first 15 video. So, now, we're clear on that. You can stop yelling at me now. So, now that I've said that, let us remove the magazine and be safe. Gun owners, remove the stock, apparently. Oh, cool, it's one of those little foldy stocks. Alright then. We'll remove what looks to be, yeah, that's the fixture bolts for the lower receiver. There we are. That is, whoa, okay, apparently multiple pieces for the foregrip. I don't know what these, okay, priming handle. And that's not the barrel. I'm not sure what that is. These are a lot of things that... Okay, spring, obvious. Bolt, remove, thank you. Lower bolt, remove, thank you. Alright. I wasn't expecting that to quite be the way that a field strip on these worked. But that's the nature of this game. You get to learn things that you never did know, nor would most people ever have the opportunity to know. So, now let's see if I can reassemble this thing, having only half paid attention to the disassembly process, since I was doing commentary the whole time. Alright, so let's reassemble the bolt, reinstall the bolt, install firing, no, not firing pin. Would it be the spring that comes next? Spring? Yeah, spring, there we go. Reinstall that. Yeah, okay, there we go. Is that piston? I don't know if SIG-550 series have a piston in them. I'm honestly not sure. Alright. Primer. And, nope, not fixture time. There we go. Install that. These camera controls are a little wonky. I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong, but they just take a little getting used to. Which one of these? Is it you? Lower? Nope, nope, there we go. Yeah, lower foregrip. There we go. Would it then? Yep, okay, lower receiver, good. Starting to get this down. Let's put in the fixture pins, good. I would imagine that those pins for the real-world model would probably have, those look like washers on them so that they couldn't just like slide out the sides if they got jarred. But obviously that level of detail is not going to be in the game proper. Although some are, because a lot of the like screws on other weapons actually do have like the screw sound when they're being inserted. So I may be incorrect there. And there we are! A properly field-stripped and then reassembled 552 Commando. Very cool. Alright then, so now I've earned the owner achievement for that particular weapon, 75 experience, and we are done there. So, let's see. Do I do a disassembly or not? I think not. Now that I have actually been rambling for quite some time, I've covered the more critical aspects of this game that I wanted to cover, and open the floor to you all now for requests for what you would like to see of this game in the future. Wait! One thing escaped me before. I'm glad I caught this before I fully wrapped. The shooting range. Wait, hang on. This I have to check. You will witness my checking. Let's see. Aha! Excellent! It seems they have accepted the criticism that others like myself levied at them and removed the mobilitis requirement of actually disseminating this game amongst friends via requests a la Facebook games that was present in the game at the time of my first 15. And now you may actually unlock this with nothing more than experience to get access to the shooting range. So, never mind, we're not wrapping yet. We're going to the shooting range with a 1911 because awesome. Let's do it! Alright, so, obviously, this is my first experience with the shooting ranges in this game, having only just unlocked it. I'm so glad they removed that requirement to unlock these. So glad. You done good, developers. You done good. Let's see here. Hit every target 7 times. You have to get maximum hit points. I don't know what that means. Hit every target for any time. Okay, that's gonna be a time trial, I think. Hit every target 5 times. So we'll just start at the top, hit every target 7 times, earn 180 points to get an achievement. Shots on exercise 21. So I've got 21 shots to hit every target 7 times. If there are 3 targets, that means I can't miss. Alright then. Okay, loud beepy noise. Whoa, that's a satisfying report. And that's actually good animation. I like this. Alright, reload. Do it. How do I reload? Okay, R is reload. So this is actually not really a terrible first-person shooter mechanic here. And obviously this is not going to be a competitive shooting experience, the likes of actual, like, person-against-person PvP sorts of games. This is going to be more the likes of time trial games that is using just the control scheme of a first-person shooter. Go! Decided to finish with headshots, because why not? And now, weapons down, we've cleared the course. Nice! I like that. Let's see. Oh, okay, apparently over here to the right, one can adjust the sensitivity. So that's mouse sensitivity during aiming. Invert mouse, no thank you. But the option is there for those who have those commie tendencies. And let's see, they've also got the controls that I probably should have read first. Ooh, one can even hold one's breath with E. I did not realize that. I'm assuming that's going to be much more involved and important for long-range aiming with long arms, the likes of which I have not yet unlocked. Auto and semi-auto, very cool, so there's a select fire system. Pardon me. Alright, now I'm not going to go through the entire range yet. I may do that in another episode, so while we've got our nice little drum beat here in the background, yes, alright. I do find it a little bit odd that I've got the music for this game turned off, and yet here in this menu, there's music. But at least this is not deafeningly loud like the other music. I don't know yet whether or not they've implemented a sound slider for the game, so comment below if you know whether they have. I know that was a complaint that I levied in the first 15. But anyway, this has been round 2 of World of Guns Gun Disassembly, everybody. A game that I'm glad to see is moving more and more with every update that the developers implement toward the type of game that it has the potential to be. And that is a great educational tool that is also very fun and entertaining to interact with. There's also, of course, the sub-system game within this on the main menu. Where do I get back to disassembly there? Within the bonus section that is even educational insofar as it's not even relevant to firearms. You can unlock, the human skeleton is unlocked by default. There are various vehicles as well as animal skeletons and Allosaurus even. So there's a cool system here that's rooted essentially in memorization and getting a critical understanding of how these systems work and are assembled, and that's really cool. I like to see educational games, as cliched as that may sound. So I would also encourage, if a game like this doesn't already exist, which it very well may, and I'm just misinformed, or rather uninformed, but if it doesn't, I would like to see these same developers create a game based more around this, that could then be aimed at dissemination to schools, to colleges, to computer labs around the world, because this is something that I think kids would actually have a lot of fun with, getting to learn, how animal skeletons are actually put together. Even the vehicle section, why not? Boys would love that. Put that in shop class, There's a really cool thing here that does have that little hints of competitiveness that kids kind of need to stay engaged, especially boys, that would keep them coming back to it and competing with friends. So there's a really, really cool system here. There's a lot of potential in this. It still needs to have some of the kinks ironed out. It still needs to be greased a little bit, and I would like to see some of the old, not consolitis, I keep wanting to say that, but the mobilitis vestiges removed. Like, I don't want to see all of my friend icons down here. That's not relevant to what's going on right here for me. If I want to know what's going on with that, I would rather have a sub-tab within the leaderboard. Like, have a button up here like, okay, world rankings, local rankings, regional rankings, friend rankings. That would be cool. I just don't want to necessarily be visually bombarded with it right here. So that's pretty much all I've got to say for World of Guns Gun Disassembly Round 2. Thank you all for joining me for this episode here at Last Level Press. I am Mr. Black, and as always, I wish you all good gaming and Godspeed. Yeah, you guys know I'm not very observant. There is a global, a country, and a friends tab. I was just looking too high. I thought it would be up here. It's down here. Sorry, don't yell at me this time!